another piece of the 2025 Formula 1 driver lineup has fallen into place. That's right, everybody, welcome back to Racing Direct. Today, of course, we are going to be talking about the news that Nico Hulkenberg will be leaving Haas at the end of the 2024 season to join Sauber in 2025. So make sure you hit subscribe, like, and comment. You already know what to do, guys. Let's jump into it. So yes, news broke pretty early in the day that Nico Hulkenberg is departing Haas at the end of the season. It's been an interesting run for him in the past couple of years at Haas. Of course, the team hasn't really been performing, hasn't really been providing him the best of cars. However, I think he's been doing a very, very good job. I think for the most part, he's outperformed Kevin Magnussen, and he puts in some good results and gets some points wherever he can. He's being very consistent, and that's exactly what you want on the Formula 1 grid, is consistency. So this announcement did come a little bit out of the blue, or a bit of a surprise. There weren't too many rumors floating around that Hulkenberg was either going to leave Haas or he was even going to join Sauber in the first place. So this sudden announcement has definitely blindsided quite a few people, and it's just put another big twist in the 2025 driver market. We did know, of course, that both Nico Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen were out of contracts at the end of the season with Haas, and of course new team principal Al Komatsu coming in there. We weren't sure if he was going to want to change the driver lineup around. Of course, these signings belong to Gunther Steiner and not Komatsu himself, so we were kind of under the impression that at least one of them was probably going to be leaving. We just didn't know which one just yet. Now we know that at least Nico Hulkenberg will be leaving Haas at the end of the season. Now, on Sauber's side of things, this honestly makes a lot of sense. Of course, Audi is stepping in 2026, so it makes a ton of sense to have someone with the experience of Nico Hulkenberg jump in there, help develop the car in 2025, get ready for that big manufacturer tie-in that is arriving the following year. Now, we also can't forget the German tie-in as well, as that probably played a big part in the signing, as Audi will definitely love having a German driver behind the wheel of their car. This also isn't Hulkenberg's first time at Sauber either, as he had raced for them back in 2013, so this is actually a bit of a return to some old stopping grounds for him. But now that Hulk's situation is confirmed, a ton of other questions are now popping up about who is going to make way for Hulkenberg at Sauber, and who will be taking the seat he's leaving behind at Haas. So the key aspect at Sauber is Hulkenberg's experience. The other person who would have provided that, of course, is Valtteri Bottas, and I don't really know if they need two experienced veteran drivers in that team. I think if anyone was going to make way for Hulkenberg, I think it would be Valtteri Bottas who'd be the odd man out, as Joe is still much younger and technically could have a higher ceiling. We don't really know just yet, but he has been fairly impressive and decent, I would say. That being said, though, it could be both of them who are leaving. Bottas and Joe, neither one of them have a contract for next year, but if one of them is likely to stay, then I believe it would be Zhou Guanyu. Again, the age factor comes into play, and who knows, when Audi comes in and makes a better car, we could see Zhou getting a much better results. They're not really given very good tools at the moment. The car keeps breaking down, it's slow, so give him another chance. But yes, if it's Hulkenberg and one of the other drivers currently at Sauber who is sticking around for next year, I believe it would be Zhou that they would keep over Bottas. But if we shift our attention back to Haas now, again, another team where both drivers who are competing this year were out of contract at the end of the season. Well, we know that Nico Hulkenberg, of course, now is going to Sauber, but where does that leave Kevin Magnussen, and who is going to fill Hulkenberg's shoes at Haas for next season? I believe that Kevin Magnussen could stick around. Look, he's a fairly quick driver. Yes, he's gotten into some scuffles and has made some mistakes, but I think overall he's a very good driver, and if they're looking at bringing in a young and inexperienced rookie next season, which I think they will, I believe that Magnussen could be a good person to have around to help develop the car a little bit more and share some experience with the rookie driver. And of course, that rookie driver we are talking about is none other than super sub Ollie Bearman himself. Of course, we don't really need to give him an introduction. We already saw what he did in Saudi Arabia for Ferrari with absolutely minimal practice time under his belt. He absolutely starred in that race, and definitely I think he earned himself a seat next year. I think Haas is the most likely option for him, especially now that we know that Hulkenberg is leaving. The door is wide open for him to take that seat, and I think he would do a fantastic job there. Now, personally, I really like a driver pairing of Kevin Magnussen and Ollie Bearman at Haas if I was team principal Al Komatsu. I think that's a very, very good mix of experience and young up-and-coming talent, especially in a team that is really trying to find their stride again, get some resurgence back there, get themselves back up the order. They are looking pretty decent in that lower pack so far this season. They're definitely ahead of the likes of Sauber and Alpine and Williams. So I believe that this would be a very good driver pairing for them next season. But again, Magnussen doesn't have a contract either, so he could be out the door as well. But in the meantime, if we're just looking at one vacant seat there that's going to replace Hulkenberg, I believe that's going to be Ollie Behrman. But I want to hear your thoughts as always, guys, in the comments. Do you think this is a good move for Nico Hulkenberg, heading over to Sauber next year and getting ready for the incoming Audi partnership? I think it's going to be very good for him. I think that team will have a massive upturn once Audi comes in. I think Hulkenberg is setting himself up well for the future. And who do you think is going to take his seat at Haas? And who do you think is making way at Sauber? A lot to dissect there as another piece of the 2025 driver lineup puzzle has fallen into place. But give me those thoughts as always. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, and share the videos. See you next time on Racing Direct.